virtually all public sector departments. The President, his cabinet, top officials of government, and the corrupt businessmen have turned government into a business, their own business. They have created programs which you know, like SHA, affordable housing, PPPs, as well as G2G importation of fuel, and embarked on mega projects, all geared to stealing from the Kenyan public. These projects, if you have seen, tenders are awarded to a couple of people who are connected with the President, and that you know what that means. With the enactment of the Kenyan Constitution in 2010, the extractive system devolved to the counties. Governors, members of the county executives, MCAs, and others award themselves the contracts and build roads which are washed away at the first rain. Rather than performing their oversight roles, many senators and members of parliament are exhorting governors and the county officials whose hands are caught in the till. As a result, the country is losing billions to corruption, as this is regularly confirmed by the Auditor General reports. The Kenyan Association of Manufacturers estimates that we lose a whopping 3 billion shillings every day, every single day, and nothing happens to the culprits. The level of looting was there, of course, from the previous governments, but it reached the highest, or it started coming very high in the year 2013. It astronomically rose from the year 2013. One of the methods the political elites have used to steal from the public is borrowing. At the end of his administration, the late President Kibaki left public debt at 1.77 trillion shillings. That was at July, when he left. However, through reckless borrowing, public debt, most of which is odious debt, is now almost 13 trillion shillings, with the result that the domestic borrowing has mopped liquidity out of the local market and ruined business enterprises in the country. You know what that means. Banks, instead of lending to the ordinary people, they find it more profitable, and they are not going to chase somebody, a kiosk owner, to recover the money they have lent to him. Instead, they are giving all the money to the government, and that has literally ruined private enterprise. With all that, now, in this budget, in this year's budget, 2026-2027 budget, which is 4.8 trillion, out of that, 2.3 trillion, which is equivalent to 48% of the national budget, is going to be to loan repayments. That's not all. This government now, the Ruto regime, has now resorted to securitization. Securitization is borrowing on the security of tax revenues, future tax revenues. That is mortgaging the Kenyan youth's future. Remember, the Kenyan youth, most of them are without employment, and they have their consent has not been sought about this borrowing. That is also contrary to the principles of public finance, including intergenerational equity, that are there in Article 201 of our Constitution. When all these things, we looked at all these things, on 2nd of February, together with the energetic young people and members of the United Green Movement Party, I embarked on a county-to-county tour of this country under the banner of Ukatiba Caravan. Our mission was twofold. One, to first of all go to the Kenyans, come to you Kenyans, and listen to you, and hear your aspirations, and hear your frustrations as the Kenyan people. You can't lead people you don't understand. You can't lead people whose issues you don't understand. Secondly, we also came out to encourage and sensitize Kenyans, particularly the youth, to register as voters. The caravan took us to every corner of this land. By 28th of April this year, we had traversed 43 counties out of 47. I am happy to note that our efforts, alongside other campaigns such as the youth-led Tukokadi movement, contributed to over 2.6 million registering as new voters. I want to thank the Kenyan people. I want to thank the Kenyan people, particularly the young people, for registering. That is the power you hold in your hands, and we are sure you are going to use it very well. In these tours, we met farmers, we met pastoralists. We sat down with women in markets. We met men at Chuakali sheds. We listened to border operators at the dusty stages. We went and met the fish folk on the shores of our lakes. We encountered ordinary Kenyans fighting every single day with great dignity to put food on the table. What we saw and heard filled us with immense pride. Our people have refused to surrender to despair. Despite the grinding conditions they are presenting, the resilience we saw, that hard work we saw from our people, tells you of the true character of the Kenyan people. We are a hard-working people, very, very hard-working people. Our mothers, our sisters, our brothers, especially in the villages, wake up very, very early. I saw that from my late mother. I mean, going to the shamba when it was still at dusk. And that's what the Kenyans are doing even now. But we also heard stories that should trouble every Kenyan of conscience. From major cities to the smallest markets that we visited, Kenyans told us about 5 painful realities with remarkable consistency. They told us about the disregard of the rule of law. They told us about state capture and corruption, which you have repeated here. I'm happy you have repeated it here. They told us about a ravaged economy. They told us about youth unemployment. And they told us about the collapse of service delivery, particularly in health and education. Wananchi plainly told us that government officials, right from the presidency down to the lowest administrative levels, have no respect for our law. They cherry-pick the provisions of the Constitution to implement, and to what extent to implement those provisions. They recalled with grief the killing and maiming of our young people during the Gen Z protest of June and July 2024, and told us what that confirmed of the present government. They told us that the political class have little regard for human life. They told us that the political class do not respect court orders. They just ignore them with impunity. They told us that government documents, these days they don't know which one to trust. Even title deeds, some of them are not what the papers they are printed on. They told us that public services, especially health and education, as I've said, have broken down completely. Throughout the country, the counties we visited, wananchi were quite clear in their minds. In fact, from everywhere, there is not one station we went to where wananchi did not raise the issues. They said, corruption has reduced them to beggars in their own country. The extractive system has stripped millions of Kenyans of their dignity and their humanity, to the extent that one Mzee Ombui Orandi, a man nearly 100 years old, was trampled upon and killed when he was scrambling for 200 shillings that was being given by a local MP in Kisii, just shortly before President Ruto went into that area. You know, that's how this government works. You go to the area, pour money, and the people come. Before he goes, he has his henchmen who give money. And we have seen that those who come from Nyamira and the Kisii, you have seen people lining up and being given money. This Muse was trampled upon and died. 200 shillings was the value of that elderly man. That tells you the depth to which we have fallen. At one of the stops we visited, a visibly angry young man stood up, and when he was given a microphone and asked what he would like the Maraga government to do for Kenyans, he uttered two words. Two words. Funga Ruto. And they sat down. Wananchi told us that businesses have closed because there is no money in circulation. The escalation of fuel prices has confused quite a number of our people. They cannot understand how fuel can be cheaper in Uganda and yet it is being transported through Kenya. In Busia, the border operators told us that they are not buying fuel in Kenya anymore. They just go with jerrycans through Panya routes and buy fuel from Uganda where it is cheaper. In Marsabit, we met quite a number of border operators. Two of them told us they had taken petrol in the morning for their operations as they normally do. At that time it was about 3 p.m. They told us they had not earned anything and they didn't know how they were going to pay for the fuel they had taken in the morning. In Kiraini, a center in Muranga, a young man came and told us openly, in the presence of uniformed policemen. There were uniformed policemen performing their duties. In their presence, and in fact, that young man was even looking at them. He said, I am tired of the life of stealing. I want an opportunity to earn an honest living. And he said, look, I have hands here. I can work. All I need is an opportunity to earn an honest living. In literally all the towns we went and shopping centers, many youths were disappointed. Some even angry with us that we had no handouts to give them. That's where Kenya has been driven to. As we all know, Kenya's youth constitute approximately 75% of the Kenyan population. Every year, 1.2 of them graduate from universities and higher institutions of learning and enter a market, a labor market that cannot absorb them. Fellow Kenyans, our country is squandering a huge demographic dividend. If employed and properly deployed, Kenya's youth will transform our economic and social landscape. But you know what we are doing with them? You know what we are doing with our youth? We have normalized violence, political violence, and you have seen what has happened. Our youths are being turned into political goons. Need I bother you about where that will take us? That is a dangerous, dangerous, dangerous thing to the security of this nation. And for me, it is only a matter of time. Unless that is controlled, it is only a matter of time, and this country will be driven into anarchy. Mheshimiwa Amisi talked about it. You can't weaponize the young people who have no jobs. You give them a few shillings and ask them to go beating fellow Kenyans. A government that has been put in place, a government which has police, which has security officers. Some of those security officers are so frustrated that the government is using goons. Instead of putting order, the government itself is the one using goons. You know what that means. Despite the mandatory provisions of Article 43 of our Constitution, looting of public resources has made the services, healthcare, and education, among others, to totally collapse. In virtually every county we visited, we encountered the dire consequences of a healthcare system that is in free fall. Hospitals have no medicines or basic essential supplies. SHA is not working. You are told every day SHA is working. SHA, if it works for 1 or 2 people, you are told, look, you are given an example and you are told it is working. Go to the wananchi out there and they will tell you it is not working. Families are being forced to sell land. You know, not many people, not many families have any other asset other than the piece of land they have. They are forced to sell that to pay hospital bills. Those who have nothing to sell, mothers are dying at home while giving birth. Education is the engine of national development. I know this from personal experience. Coming from a very poor family, education was the key that unlocked my future. I've said this many times. I came from a very poor family. I wore my first pair of shoes when I was going to secondary school. I didn't even get the number right, and I had a lot of problems wearing that shoe. Our education system is in a deplorable and dysfunctional state. Not because we lack funds, but because a greater portion of the education budget is being stolen, and you have seen the hasty and reckless implementation of the CPC, now called CPE, where we have great challenges. The report by the National Examination Council recently that 73.2% of grade 3 learners failed to attain minimum proficiency in mathematics, and 58.9% are struggling with basic education, should worry not only the parents, every Kenyan of conscience. Why? This is the kind of education we are giving to our children. These are our future doctors. These are our future architects. These are our future engineers. How can we gamble with the lives of our children and actually the welfare of our nation? And yet, our Constitution guarantees every Kenyan citizen inherent dignity and requires the state to take concrete measures, including affirmative action, to ensure that the youth access employment. How do the youth access employment in a ravaged economy? These are the truths we gathered from our Okatiba caravan. These are not opinions, my fellow Kenyans. These are not opinions. These are honest, lived realities. The Kenyans who spoke to us in raw honesty and quiet courage. Can we go on with this? Can we go on with this? We must change. We have no choice but to change. We need to reset our country. We need to restore. We need to rebuild our country. Fellow Kenyans, 16 years ago, we gave ourselves one of the most progressive constitutions in the world. I can tell you that with authority. I have read very many constitutions in the world. In the course of the nature of my work, I had to compare and read other constitutions of other countries. And when I say, like many other lawyers have said, we have one of the best constitutions in the world. What we have are challenges. This was a pact meant to decisively break the neo-colonial extractive system and build a Republic of Kenya anchored on social justice, prosperity, and human dignity. But that has not come to be. We must reset our country to order by reconstituting our governance system in strict adherence to the Constitution and the rule of law. If you give me the privilege of leading this country, I will dedicate my presidency to dismantling the culture of impunity. No one will be above the law. No to the president. Thank you very much. No to the president, no to the pauper. I have said this many times. If I'm head of this country and there is a court order against me or against my government, I will appeal. I will appeal, go to the Court of Appeal, go to the Supreme Court. If I reach the end, I will raise my hands. I will raise my hands and tell everybody who serves under me to obey that court order, because that's the land, the law of the land. A civilized government is one which obeys the law. It should lead by example. I will do that. We must reverse the imperial presidents, where the president is considered as the sole provider of development. You are told all the time, Rais amekuja hapa, ametupatia hii, ametupatia hii. All that is supposed to be in the development plan. What about the areas where he has not been to? What about the areas where he doesn't have sycophants? You can't run a country, you wait for the president to come and say, let me build for your school here. We must be an orderly government. My administration will not treat the Constitution as a suggestion. The Constitution will be our absolute command. We will implement it fully. Professionalize the public service through meritocracy and restore the independence of institutions, including Parliament. Parliament is not independent anymore. Parliament is not serving the people, he's serving one person. You wait. See, the finance bill is there. Many people have protested against it. You wait, you are going to see it being passed. And you know what they have done? They bring scandals. The tender of the JKA refurbishment, bring in, funny characters, so that our minds are concentrated on what? On those scandals, and we forget about the finance bill. I will end fraudulent schemes, fraudulent procurement schemes. And fellow Kenyans, trust me, I will end that. I just need 5 years. Give me 5 years only. It has taken Ruto less than 5 years to literally demolish this country. I need 5 years. Call this country to order. Get Kenyans of goodwill. Give them positions they have to add, and they will not be managed from State House. They will work. I will give them the freedom to work, but I will demand results. I will demand accountability. And I have very many Kenyans. We have very many Kenyans, professionals, who are ready to work for their country. We are going, even you, we will give you an opposition if you qualify for that, so that we will have a country. Our leadership has become rogue and uncaring. Under my leadership, we shall restore humanity and dignity to the Kenyan people. Extrajudicial killings will be a matter of the past. Unlawful detentions we will not entertain. There will be no sacred cows. All suspects, criminal suspects, will be arrested and prosecuted in accordance with our Constitution and the applicable law. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not, Kenya is not an island. We must maintain friends and be in the community of nations. But we must guard our sovereignty and our hard-won independence from erosion by vestiges of colonialism. We shall engage the world in the spirit of Pan-Africanism, respecting international treaties and norms that foster regional integration and international cooperation, human rights, and good governance. Our battered image as a repressive state and a client of foreign interests must change. You saw even what was on KTN. Foreigners, and worse still, criminals have been given our passports. Have been given our passports. We will revoke all those passports. We will revoke all those passports. Our sisters and brothers in the diaspora who make immense contributions to these countries. Must reach farmers. Those who are from the farming community know. There used to be a time when extension officers used to go to the people. These days they don't even have fuel to go to the people. The people don't even know what kind of variety of maize or which one they should grow in which area. Extension services will reach the farmers. Farm inputs will be affordable, and where appropriate, subsidies will be given. We will not give sand in the name of fertilizer. The governance failures afflicting tea and the coffee sectors must be corrected. The devastation caused to our rice farmers in Mwea, and we were there, my colleagues, those who were with me, we were there, and you heard what our brothers and sisters in Mwea told us. They grow one of the best varieties of rice in the world. But the rice is in stores. They can't sell it because some cartels have been allowed to import rice and flooded the market. Western Kenya sugar farming will be given priority, and we will deal with the issues that are there. Fellow Kenyans, it is public knowledge that a number of companies have closed operations in Kenya and relocated some to our neighboring countries. The business executives who spoke to us during the Okateva caravan were unequivocal. This government has made Kenya impossible for competitive business. Factory owners told us that there will be no meaningful manufacturing that can be done in Kenya without drastically reducing the cost of fuel. That will be a priority in my government. One fuel operator showed us 10 licenses that one needs to have before he can operate a small business. 10 to operate a petrol station. Others told us that they regularly pay protection money to police and provincial administration officials. Is that a business environment? Is that a business environment where investors can come to? For me, that's a hostage situation. We have to change that if this country has to move forward. No country can advance without innovation and manufacturing. My government will leverage on artificial intelligence to expand opportunities for our youth who are already digital natives. I will stop or drastically reduce borrowing, especially domestic borrowing, as I told you, which has mopped up liquidity from the local market, and look very, very keenly and seriously into business licensing, taxation, and energy supply to spur manufacturing, including development of cottage industries, to incentivize small and medium enterprises. We will protect our minerals and other resources and secure the future of our children. We cannot have a country where 125 billionaires own what 43 million Kenyans put together own. You can't have a country like that, where 15 million youths are unemployed and cannot even afford airtime, while public officials with no known sources of income flaunt obscene wealth before the very people they have robbed it from. We must end that. Throughout our Katibo caravan, Kenyans demanded leadership with integrity. This is a lifelong value I embrace. Because the president is a trustee of public resources. I don't know if you know. The president is a trustee. Ni muwekaji. He is a steward of public resources. I believe I am well placed to end the cartels and the corruption networks in government and recover stolen resources. I have never been associated with any corruption scandal. I am ready. Thank you. I am ready to declare on oath. I am ready to declare on oath my assets and give a full account of how I acquired each piece. That I can tell you. I challenge every presidential aspirant, starting with Ruto, to do the same and account for everything they own and their properties. President Ruto has told us he was a chicken seller. Let him come and show us how he sold that chicken and got what he has got. That some of us are so daft we can't get that. Fellow Kenyans, this is my personal pledge to you. I will not steal from you. I will not allow my family to steal from you or my friends. Those I will appoint to serve with me, I will not allow them to steal from you. For me, thank you very much. For me, zero tolerance to corruption is not a slogan. It will be the governing standard of my administration. I will empower the investigative and prosecutorial agencies, including EACC, the DCI, and the ODPP to carry out their mandate without political or executive interference. Thank you. I will ensure that the judiciary is well resourced to be able to do its work properly. If we succeed in confronting impunity and recovering stolen assets, we will reduce the cost of living. We don't need to store, just reduce stealing and the cost of living will come down. It will come down on its own. We will not be talking about bags of maize being sold at this packets of maize flour being sold at so much. That will come down, when you have an economy that is progressive. This will, of course, give us money to take care of our health and educate our children and build a government system that finally works for every citizen. As I conclude, fellow Kenyans, please hear me out. To fundamentally reform our governance system, we must reject ethnic balkanization to which we have been plunged into. We must come together as one people and vote on issues and the challenges facing this country. We should forget about, and I applaud you, Mheshimiwa Misi. We should reject the notion of voting in accordance with our ethnic community. And I want to speak to Kenyans. Please listen to me. We get in that. Sometimes you get even some of the middle class Kenyans disappointed and they don't even go out to vote. This time around, I want to appeal to all Kenyans. You know, some of the young executives are able to have a good car. Their children are going to school. They are able to pay house rent, if not mortgage. And they see things are all moving on. They don't want to be disturbed about what's going on in politics. They don't even turn out to want to vote. Let me warn you, my fellow Kenyans. This time round, you must want to vote. You don't vote, and Kenya runs into anarchy. You will not have a road to drive that car. You will not have a road to drive that car. The 2027 general election is a defining moment in the history of our country. It is a defining moment in the history of our country. We must come together and vote the Ruto regime out. The next government must not be a mere a game of musical chairs. Same monkeys in a different forest, taking their turn to eat. I believe in opposition unity. This opposition unity must be built on a convergence of values, not appetites. We need to unite under the rule of law and permanently ensure that no future leader can weaponize state power to loot public resources, kill our children, and silence dissent. These days, wakiona wewe umeenda pahali fulani, umeona mheshimiwa Gachagua anaenda kanisani, sababu hawataki kusikia yale ambayo anazungumza, wanatupa tear gas kwa kanisa. Hata bila kujali ya kwamba iko wamama hapo wazee ambao walienda huko bila kujua kutakuwa na tear gas inatupwa, na iko watoto. How can anybody throw tear gas to a church congregation? That is the height of brutality. The 2027, as I said, is a defining moment in the history of our country. It will be a make or break election. It will be the Okombozi election. We must liberate ourselves from the chains that Ruto has shackled us with. And take it from me, fellow Kenyans. Take it from me. If Ruto Oro is re-elected, or anyone who espouses his value systems takes the reins of this country, it will be tragedy. It will be tragedy. We will begin descending to the abyss. Countries don't just fail overnight. You see, you ignore some things which are going on until you wake up and say, wait a minute, where are we? We cannot afford to leave our country and descend to that level. Fellow Kenyans, Kenya is a rich country. We are an intelligent people. We are athletic champions. You know that, isn't it? The Kenyan academicians and professionals shine on the global stage. We saw some, a country member, being given awards, huge sums of money because of the outstanding work they have done. We cannot, as a people who are intelligent, we cannot and must not allow our motherland to descend into anarchy. We have the power to save our country. We have the power to put an accountable government responsible to the plight of the Kenyan people. A government that believes in constitutionalism and the rule of law. It is time to stop dreaming about the Kenya we deserve and start building it. Time to start living in the Kenya of our cherished imagination and enjoy our nationhood as a free people. Time to liberate our country. Time for Ukombozi. We are coming to your county. As UGM, we are coming to your county. We are coming to your constituency. We are coming to your ward. We are coming to your village to ask your hand in working together so that we can liberate ourselves. The journey to a new Kenya begins now. Will you join us? Will you join us? The dawn is here. It is time for our liberation. It is time for Ukombozi. Kumekuja. God bless you. God bless Kenya. Thank you very much for listening.